So a systems migration project is when you move from one enterprise system to another. So for example, we recently shifted our CRM from Keep to Kajabi, and Kajabi is an all-in-one system where we already hosted our courses. Next up is moving off our separate shopping cart system into Kajabi as well. And those would both be system integration or system migration projects. So you may not have a current system in the sense of a vendor provided software. It could be a homegrown system or a custom built system your organization has built over time. Or in some cases, people are using spreadsheets and manual processes to manage an information flow or process some sort of data. And so the migration is from a manual process to a more automated or supported one using an enterprise tool. So let's look at why companies actually migrate from one system to another. They're really common when one company acquires another and wants to realize cost savings through a system consolidation. It could be that the company has simply outgrown its current tool and requires the features, customization, or integration options in a more advanced or robust system. A company could simply choose to simplify and consolidate its tool sets to streamline and cultivate interoperability. Or, let's face it, often an executive will hear about a new software at a conference and decides that this will fix whatever problem that they are facing in their department, right? We all know that a lot of system ideas and projects come through just by this executive impulse. But let's look at how, as business analysts, we can approach this kind of project. So this is the 8-step business analysis process that we teach at Bridging the Gap. It's also the foundation of my latest book called The Value-Driven Business Analyst. And let's just kind of walk through this from the perspective of a system migration project. So first we want to get oriented, understand our current state systems, and then really drive into the business objectives. So what are the business drivers? Often a sponsor, again, will have chosen a new tool, but what are the expected outcomes from that? Ideally, you are a part of the discovery and tool evaluation process, but even if you're not, you want to understand what they are expecting so that you can meet them and help them get that outcome from the migration itself. And then you look at the scope. You want to identify what's in and out of scope for the migration, meaning what are the high level business processes that will be covered? What are the key functional capabilities that the software will have and needs to be set up for and configured? What systems will the new system talk to? And what, if any, data will be migrated? That should all be pretty high level at first. And from there, you plan out your work, you start diving into the details. As a quick aside, one of my favorite diagrams is called a system context diagram, and that can really help you understand the impacts and the integrations. And it's my favorite visual model to include in a scope statement. So something really key to for a system migration project, just to show the scope of the system. So then let's dig into what techniques you are going to use for a system migration project. So for this, let's take a look at the business analyst blueprint framework, which is all of the techniques and approaches that we teach and the basis of our entire curriculum at Bridging the Gap. So as you can see, the 8-step framework is along the bottom that we've already discussed in some detail. So here, let's just look along the top. The first is the business process perspective. This is where you understand the current state. How are people using their current system today? Again, that could be a homegrown system. It could be a vendor provided system. It could be a spreadsheet and a Google Doc, right? And then we want to look at what are the pain points around that process and how can we alleviate some of the pain points or enable new capabilities while we're moving that process to a new system. And then we would start to look at the software requirements. So in the case of a migration or migrating to an existing tool, you don't necessarily need to identify the detailed requirements for every feature that the tool already has. That would be a over investment in your time and energy. But you do want to identify any enhancements or customizations as well as configuration options. And sometimes you can use prototyping or a wireframe to show how a configuration option would affect the flow. Often that's the lightest lift when you have an existing system, is to take a screenshot and show how things are configured. Or if it's easy enough to configure, you can actually just configure that in a test environment and use that as your prototype. And then this brings us to data modeling, which tends to be a heavy lift for a system migration project. So you might have data in your current system, even if that's a spreadsheet or a document, or a database of some sort, and you want to move that into the new system. Often the rules and the logic around what data is in the current system might be different than the new system. And so when you complete a data map showing how data moves from one system to another, you're going to uncover things like data that gets truncated, or something where you might have a field that a user could type anything into that becomes a select list in the new system. And you need to figure out how to clean that data, map that data, and make sure it's set up to do the work that it needs to do to run the processes in the new system. Again, we teach all of these techniques along with the end-to-end business analysis approach inside the Business Analyst Blueprint training program. So if you're looking for more resources and support on your system migration projects, that is a great place to start. It's a really foundational skill set, and hopefully this has given you some ways to be thinking about that. In the meantime, we have some free downloads that can help you get started. So inside the BA deliverables collection, we have a few free templates from our premium toolkits that can help you get started right away. There's several toolkits or templates in that collection. The two that are most relevant for system migration projects would be the scope statement template and the business process template. And you can download at that URL that's on the screen here, bridgingthegap.com/deliverables. And then we'll also drop links to a few video tutorials if you want to go into these techniques in any more detail. We have one on the scope statement, a data map, business process, and even entity relationship diagram, all techniques that are relevant for system migration projects. And again, if you'd like to learn the ins and outs of these techniques, and set yourself up for more success on your next project, check out the training we offer to individuals and business analysis teams. We'd love to help you take the next step in your business analysis career. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I share tips and tricks of business analysis and insights from the work I do in AI and business analysis. And I'd love to see you next time I share a tip or technique. See you next time.